So full text search. If you're used to using the default examine search for searching your content, you'll often find that searching in grid and nested content or even block lists can be quite hard because they're JSON based, and it's not always the content inside of these properties that actually make it to the end website. So full text search tries to handle this by indexing the rendered content from the view instead, and removing HTML and other stuff that you don't like. So you can install it from the package repo or from NuGet. And when you install it, you get a dashboard in the settings section. We can just remove these spaces right here. If I can find out. So yeah, so you get this dashboard in the settings section where you can see how many nodes you have indexed and which ones are missing and which ones are incorrectly indexed. There's a config setting for you to decide that some content types should not be indexed with full text, and some property if you have a property alias that is true, then it shouldn't either. So when you install it, the first thing you need to do is to reindex your nodes, just to make sure that you get the full text content inside. This site is just the starter kit, the default starter kit in 8.10, the same as all the other 8 versions. So the reindexing is quite fast. But if you need to select specific nodes to reindex, you can also do that. This is also helpful if you are changing the view for a specific page, then you can reindex that from here. Other than that, the reindexing is done whenever the page is published. So every time you publish a page, it will get reindexed and automatically added. So inside this dashboard, there's a search function too for demoing what is inside your solution. So you don't have to build some kind of a front-end rendering of your search just to see how it works. So I can try here and search for a unicorn. And now I will get all the pages that contains unicorns. And as you can see, there's quite a lot because the address in the footer of the site is including the word unicorn. And I'll get back to this later. But one thing that is a typical solution made with this package is we have something like the team page here. You can see that in the content section, none of the child items is mentioned. But if we look at the front page of the site, you can see that the content includes all these nice people. And if we wanted to search for these on our site, then it wouldn't be possible because they are not present on this page at all. So if I go to back to my dashboard here and try to search for Matt, I can see that the people page turns up because Matt's name is on the content page. So if I inspect, I can see the different fields inside the examine index, and I can see here that the full text content actually includes the content from Umbraco, or from the front end view, sorry. So as you can see, we also have the navigation and the footer in here, and typically you don't want these parts of the page to pollute your searching. So what you can do for excluding these is that you can go to your config file. It's inside the plugin folder here, full text search and full text search.config. You can see here that we can either exclude specific content types. I won't do that right now. We can exclude the nodes, including a property. Is this my microphone that's noisy? So if we have a property on a page called Umbraco search height, as an example from this, and it's a true-false property and it's set to true, then this node won't be added to the index. But what I would like to do here is that I would like to remove the footer section from all pages. It's done by adding an XPath expression for the part of the page you need to get removed. And I click save here. So we can see on our master template that this footer content is placed inside a footer tag, so we can remove this with the XPath. So going back to the back office, I can reload the config, and I can now see that this XPath is set to be removed from the content. So if I go and reindex all my nodes again to get the latest content and using using all these filters, I can now try to search for a unicorn again, and I should get a lot smaller results set back. So as you can see here, and I now get the products page that has the word unicorn in it. I get this knitted vest with the unicorn and a page called unicorn. So I no longer get all pages because the footer includes the word unicorn. Another thing I can do is that I can go to the master template here, and let's say that I don't want my navigation to get pulled through to the full text content. So I have a helper inside the package in the namespace up here, our Umbraco full text search helpers, and it's an extension method for the request object. I can say here is indexing active. It should be in an if statement, of course, and it should be false. So if I do this and this and save, then the next time I reindex, as you can see here on the configuration dashboard, there's this notion of an indexing active key, and this key is added to all requests made by the indexer. So this extension method checks whether this key is available, and if it is, then this call returns true. So I can say that if this call doesn't return true, then I need this because then it's a regular user. But if the indexing is active, then I don't want to show all this. So going back in here and re-indexing. So the views are a bit slower because I didn't pre-compile them. And as we can see here, we have this Umbraco sample site text in the header. I can try and search for this afterwards by going sample. That's obviously still there. It shouldn't be. Let's see. Must be somewhere else too. Yeah, it's because it's in the title up here. So let's just remove the head part 2. Just remove all scripts and the head. And close this, reload the config, and reindex again. So now, if we go to sample again, then no results coming because there's no pages mentioning sample anywhere other than the head part. So if we want to do a search page, I have added a document type for this in this solution. Just very simple for now, just adding the page and the header. But the most interesting part is the view for it. Of course, you could do this in a controller on a surface controller if you like this, but for demonstrational purposes, I'm just going to do this in my view. Just search for unicorn here, and we can see we get the results. So how to search is that you get this query string that you add. You can do the whatever query string that you like, and whatever kind of paging method that you like. In the full text search helper that is added, you can just call this a search method with a search term, the culture from the page, and what page in the search results you're in. This is the simple way. Uses all the default settings of full text search, which means that it will summarize the text in here, and it will have a default boosting for title fields and stuff like that. We can also do it a bit more configurable. There's a search model up here that is started with the search term, and then we have a fluid API for it. So we can keep on adding stuff here. Let's say that for body properties, we wanted to look in body text instead. The default is that it will look in this full text content field that is added through the config. This should be set body properties, by the way. Something like that. Set. Set page length. I already have that. So let's just say we want 5 5 results per page and a summary length of 200 characters and a fuzziness of 1, which should probably mean that the results should match completely. So yeah, I can hear that my time is up. So yeah, any questions?
You can eat a bit into your time of questions if you have anything more to demo, but yeah, if not, we can go for questions.
Yeah, so let's just carry on. Anyone just feel free to break in if you have a question. So you can also change the search type. The default search type is a multi-relevance, which means that it both does a fuzzy search and also splits up the search terms into different terms. But there are a few others where you can do as entered, where it has to be exactly how you entered it and other kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of possibilities in here that you can do. You can also limit it to a specific part of the tree. If you have a multi-site installation, then you can define which site that you need to search in. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that, Søren. One question, and this is out of curiosity: how does it do it in the background? So when you said whenever you publish a page, it gets indexed. What does it do? Does it make a sort of HTTP request and pull the data, or how does that happen?
Yeah, the first version did the HTTP requests to get the page content, but in the latest version here from 1.0, it uses an internal API in Umbraco called render template, where it takes the node that you need indexed and renders it in any template that you select. And this makes it a lot faster to reindex, and that's also why I could just click this button and don't have any trouble doing that. Before that, you had to have a host name configured on your node to even make it work. So this makes it work a lot easier, and the indexing is also cached into a database table. So whenever you reindex your examine index, then it will just pick the content from there. So the cache is only updated when you actually publish something or click the reindex nodes button in here.
Awesome. Any other questions?
So because you're using that the internal API for rendering the template, does that mean that you don't have to worry about pages protected for members? So it gets around the problem of having to log in, yeah?
Yeah, it does. So of course you would need some kind of security around the protected pages. So you probably don't want them ending up in the examine index, but as far as I recall, there's also some default protection in examine for this. And also the content from these just extend the default external index. So all nodes inside the full text search needs to have an Umbraco node connected in order to actually turn up here. So you can see from examining index here that this is just the record for this node. Where's the ID? 1107, and we can see that I have the full text content field here, and also a path that is split by spaces to make this root node search work too.
Cool. So are you able to then filter the search results based on a particular document type as well?
Actually not. Not as I recall, but an interesting idea that should probably be worth investigating. Typically, when I use this, I want a search for a complete page, and then I'll group the results into different doc types if needed afterwards. But definitely an interesting idea to do this too.
Cool.
Cool. Any other questions, or if If not, I think Søren, you managed to fly through your presentation. Your machine didn't act up. The demo gods are good to you.